Jai Siya Ram, Radhe Radhe. Namaskar and welcome to this English edition of Bharat Vichar. And I'm your host and host. My name is SUMIT. And thank you very much for making to the show. This is for our English speaking audiences on this special request. Well, we take the name of Lord Sri Ganesha. The title is Middle East. The things are shifting quietly. There has been a lot of development in Middle East. The sides are shifting, the sands are shifting, coalitions are shifting. Karachi is in Pakistan. America is talking of talks. Iran is talking of no talks. Still, the things are hit, and we are hearing that some people might be taken out. Some people have, made it to the hit list of Americans, and some people have made it to the hit list of Israelis. Who are these people? We're going to talk about that. Look, Iran is definitely under pressure, right? Trump is signaling a very hard line. It has to now or never, and they are irritating Trump by the day, and that is not good news for them. And in the meanwhile, the Europe appears to be more divided than ever before, and things are really getting out of control. And the most important part that is Pakistan still playing games? Is Iran still playing games? If Iran is still playing games, what are they up to? What do they want to do, and what do they want to achieve? There's a lot we are going to talk on the show. What I would request hereby is to kindly subscribe and kindly like this video, subscribe to our channel. That will be an honor and a favor. Kindly subscribe to all our channels, that you will know on which program the channel wise breakdown is here, which programs are coming on which channel. You know the ethos of Bharat Vichar, which is truth over TRP, vision over views, no compromise on Desh and Dharma. And we have Bharat Vichar portal. Good 10 minutes read. We are covering all the important stories of the world. It's worth your 10 minutes, and we are getting it better. And if you want to support Bharat Vichar, you have the Paytm, QR, and PayPal as your options. Thank you very much. Let's start. Look, there has been a tectonic change in the Middle Eastern politics. American blockade is doing the trick. Iran is coming under the pressure. And Mohammad Ghalibaf, the speaker of the Iranian parliament, steps down. When he steps down, the person who takes the chair is the old wine. Who's the old wine here? Is Abbas Agharachi. Abbas Agharachi is back to business. Abbas Agharachi is heading the thing. Suddenly, his deputy foreign minister goes mum, Minister of External Affairs spokesperson goes mum, and Arachi is back into the business. Now, what do we know? Arachi says, I am going to Pakistan. I'm going to Pakistan with a delegation. The first thought which came to our mind is that the Pakistanis going possibly to talk to Pakistanis. What is the leverage we have got? We have got this much of bandwidth. And if Americans are expecting this, so there's no common ground. How much can they stretch, and what to set the expectation of the Americans, right? Because Iran and America both have been befooled by Pakistan and the stooges. So they want to set the expectation right. Second, look, I'm coming here. I want to come and really negotiate with you. Get the Americans. Get the boys down. Get the cowboys. That can be a thing. Third is that, Pakistan, we're giving you this chance. This is our limitation. See what you can do. If it works, great. Otherwise, hasta la vista. We are going somewhere else. Now, these were the three possible scenarios which were on the table. And now comes a twist. Scenario number one, talking about the leverage, but why do you need to go with a delegation? Scenario number two, getting your delegation there and meeting, possibility. Scenario number three, okay, Pakistanis, take it or leave it, we have an option. Now, where is the option? The option is where these people were talking of that we'll go to Oman, that after that we'll go to Russia. Remember, Agharachi got Lavrov into the game. By means of Lavrov, Dmitry Peskov came into the game, and Russians came into the game saying, look, if you want somebody to negotiate and be a tough negotiator, Russia can do the role. So that was to send a message to Pakistan. No more playing games, Pakistan. You have done enough of America's batik. Come to lines, come to realistic lines. If we can do something, we can do. Otherwise, I will go to Omanis. Oman has been also a negotiator. If Oman doesn't work out, I will go to Russia. I'll go to Uncle Putin. Putin knows how to get the things right. So that is where the crux of the whole thing is going to be. Now, with that, suddenly, we were just waiting and contemplating what is going to happen. Things change again. Things change when Caroline Levitt says, Gerald Kushner and Steve Witkoff are flying down to Pakistan to meet Arachi. So the option number 2 seems to be a palpable option wherein they are really going and meeting them. And the meeting is most likely going to happen on Sunday. Now, again, Sunday the meeting is going to happen. The things, that's what we know. And this is announced by Colonel Levitt. And what about Mr. J.D. Vance? Well, Mr. Vance is not going because Mohammad Gilabaf is not coming. He has stepped out or he has been shunted out by IRGC. I hope he is still alive and live and kicking, because usually if IRGC shunts you out, you may not be at times lucky enough to be live and kicking. I hope and I pray Mr. Gilabaf is live and kicking. We pray for his best of health. But at the same time, when these things are happening, there's a sudden change in their tactics. Now, Kushner and Witkoff heading to the Pakistan. In the meanwhile, J.D. Vance will be on the standby. Now, we don't understand what does the standby mean. Who is coming from the other side where you need an American vice president to go? It was the Gilabaf who always insisted that I want J.D. Vance to come. I don't know what reasons. Maybe he thought that he's a lesser or an easy guy to work on, manipulate, but that can be the reason. Now, again, things get complicated. Fine, we know that they are going there, but there's one more twist. The twist is Iranis are saying we are going to Pakistan, but for a bilateral. Bilateral. We are going to Pakistan to have a bilateral with Pakistan. We are not going to Pakistan to meet the Americans. If that is the case, why is Caroline Levitt kind of talking about it? Where does the question of Witkoff and Kushner flying come from? And where does the question of J.D. Vance's standby come from? Again, confusion and chaos. Because blockade is really started pushing pressure on the Iranian economy. Iran is a divided house. America, Trump is getting very, very jittery. Trump was asked a question by one of the reporters, sir, are you going to use a nuclear bomb against Iran? He very smartly says, well, no. Why do I need to use a nuke? Because my conventional weapons are doing good. We are doing great. And there is no need to use one. Rather, the answer should have been, it will never ever be used by America. And this is option just completely off the table. And I personally believe this option should be never on the table, guys. What are we talking here? Nukes are never to be used. But unfortunately, the President of the United States of America does not really talk about that piece. He smartly diverts the tactics. What are the Americans' options? Americans have 3 options. You leave Middle East, call it a day, hasta la vista, let them fight with each other. Second, you really put on the blockade, but at the end of the blockade, there will be war. By putting the blockade, you are delaying the war. But the problem is that if I look at Mossavi, the head of the IRGC Air Force, and if I look at Rahmani, I think he's the head of the IRGC. His name is Mohammad Karami. Karami is the head of the IRGC ground force. What they are saying that we have enough ammo and we have enough people who can give their lives and who can save Iran. So Karami is talking of a few 100,000, 700,000 suicide bombers. And IRGC Air Force Chief Mossavi is talking about, I have a secret weapon. I have something which can really burn the Americans. So we don't know what it is. Possibly a dirty bomb. The regime is suicidal. They can use a dirty bomb, but if push comes to shove, you really squeeze them, nowhere to go. They can go all chips in. What will happen after that? Americans will come, guns blazing. They will possibly, maybe, God knows, they can possibly use a tactical nuke or a God knows whatever. So all the possibilities are on the table. So the matter of fact, American media asking this question to the Trump is itself a testimony that there's a grey point talk somewhere happening that this is happening. But, or third, you go to the war. So even after the blockade, you have to go to a war, but Iran will be a very desperate Iran. But if you go to a war now, they will still have some ammo, some vigor left to fight. Now, the latest intel charter is they've got approximately 50% of their ammo pretty much in place, which they can kind of use to fight. If I look, which they can pretty much use and give Americans a good fight. But if I look at Israel, numerous KC-135 landing there. Again, large dumps of cargo coming to them because that is what they always wanted. In the meanwhile, Hezbollah and Hamas funding has to stop. Donald Trump is very clear on that. But will Iran agree to that? I don't think they're going to agree to that. So are we going to have a ceasefire discussion? According to Trump, no. But if that is no, what are Witkoff and Gerard Kushner going to do? Iran never agreed for this. And now Arachi is saying, I'm not here for talking to you guys, Americans. I'm talking to my brother Pakistanis. Oh, very interesting. And if I look at Iran, for 1400 hours, there's no internet. So we really don't know what is happening inside. People are really literally in a troubled world. And there were talks about, Netanyahu not feeling well. Netanyahu is not good. His prostate cancer might have been there, but it was a prostate tumor which has been taken care of. His reports are good. Netanyahu is live and kicking. Israel has planned what it needs to do. In the meanwhile, one more important development. Now, Ahmad Wahidi. Who is Ahmad Wahidi? Ahmad Wahidi is the head of IRGC. Now, there's a talk that this man is the biggest stumbling block in any kind of negotiations or any kind of discussions with Iran. And this man has to be taken out. So if this man has to be taken out, now those contingencies and those plans are already being contemplated. So this puts Iran under tremendous pressure. Because if you get Wahidi out, then his two deputies, which is the replacement of Larijani and Shams Khani, are not as powerful as the man. Wahidi still holds a lot of cards. The American blockade is full. The economy is cracking. And then Trump breaks a riddle. I mean, too difficult for me to comprehend, but let me try to explain to you. According to the Americans, they're saying, look, very soon, Iran's oil wells could explode, or they could lose their 50 to 70% of the potential. There's a logic in this oil industry that if you shut down a well, which is working, what will happen? Something chemical changes, some gravitational changes, whatever. I'm not an expert on that. Either the well's oil potential will fall to 50 to 70%, maybe around 40 to 50%. Let's say if you have 1 billion barrels of potential, it will come to 500,000 barrels of potential. Suddenly, this rest all will evaporate. So, if you have to shut down your wells, you're not only losing $450 million a day, you're also losing future earnings, and your wealth's potential, which is your national wealth, comes to, let's say it only depletes by 40%. And there's a possibility due to some pressure changes on, even the wells can explode. There can be a natural fire which can break. So shutting down a functional oil well, which has been functioning for years, is not a smart thing to do. And there can be implications on that. So Americans are saying, okay, if you don't want to do the deal, the blockade continues. Your Kharg Island is full, and when it becomes full, you have to shut the well. Either you lose some 50, 60, 30, 40% of the potential of the well, or even the wells can explode and there can be a big fire. Interesting. And Trump is very sure this is how it is going to happen, and this is how things are going to move, and that's pretty much it. Now, Iran fears that America might attack them. Correct. Iran fears that America might, because Trump is giving all the tough signals. Trump is giving all the hard signals. His line is increasing. His rhetoric is increasing. Trump is even saying, okay, I've given you 3 weeks. I've given you 6 weeks. Come to a proposal with me. I'm in no hurry, guys. I want to see what do you get in that proposal. And based on that, I can take a call what to do with it. If required, we can start bombing again. We have all the ships. We are full with ammo. We're all locked and loaded. But Zelensky comes in and breaks the riddle. He says, look, Americans are producing some 60 to 65 Patriots a month. And whatever happened in Middle East a couple of days back, your 2 years of stocks are gone. So as per Zelensky, Americans might have a lot of ammo, but not a lot of interceptors. That is what we can interpret from what Zelensky is trying to say. But Zelensky is making Mohammed bin Salman. Zelensky is at the same time saying, let me send my ships. That I'm going to send my ships and we're going to clean the Strait of Hormuz. He wants to be in the Trump's good books, but at the same time, he also wants to spill sunbeams for the people to know something is really getting here. Trump says, oh, don't hurry me on the war. Other wars lasted for months, years, and decades. It's just 6 weeks. Pete said same thing. Don't hurry us on the war. We want complete control of Strait of Hormuz. We want agreements which are binding for life. We don't want those 20 or 30-year agreements. We don't believe in that. Tehran or Iran is a leaderless country, which I agree, because Mustafa is in a pretty bad shape physically and mentally. And we want a scenario wherein America dictates the terms. And at the same time, Iranis are watching this because they're under pressure. Iranis have come up with a hit list. So if American hit list includes Wahadi and Israeli hit list is Mujtaba Khamenei, now these guys have also come up with a hit list. There are four destinations defined. It is shown on the Iranian national TV, so I'm not casting aspersions. One is the three biggest oil fields of Saudi Arabia, one biggest oil field of Kuwait, Ras Laffan, the biggest gas terminal of Qatar, and then Kharg Island, equivalent of UAE, where they have all the oil and gas facilities, where they basically load the ships and let them go. So these are the things we are taking out. And 1 or 2 nights back, they have paraded those rockets with those names written of the destination, which can be symbolic, but they have issued this threat on the TV. This we are going to take out. Now, imagine you have a blockade which is too tough. And towards the end, they realize they cannot make it. They might have a dirty bomb, which will they use, and they will burn all of that, what I'm saying, and maybe much more of that. Even if they succeed to 30 or 40 or 50%, Middle East is permanently under ruins. Middle Eastern economies are in shambles. That is a strong possibility what they can do. And knowing the regime is suicidal, I can't bet my money that they are not going to do it. There is a possibility they are going to do it. So which kind of further elevates the risk that the regime will become highly, highly unpredictable. But if you don't put the sanctions, if you don't put the blockade, then sanctions could do nothing in 40 years. And Trump knows you have not reached so far anywhere. While in the Israel, they're talking of, look, why don't you leave us alone? Why can't we settle them? Why can't we kind of go and do what we are good at? But at the same time, there's a 3-week ceasefire, which is very fragile. Hezbollah is firing missiles at Israel, and Israel has been very cautiously giving major responses, not going crazy. But still, Israel went in and attacked 3 places within the Lebanon, which Lebanon is now saying was a violation of ceasefire. And Joseph is okay with the 3-week ceasefire, but the Prime Minister seems to be saying, Joseph is the president, but the Prime Minister seems to be saying, Lebanese Prime Minister, oh, we are not okay by the time Israel does not blockade our territories. Ask Israel to blockade our territories. We are not open. We are not happy about that. So here the things again go crazy. Things again hit the right. And in the meanwhile, in the year, 4 interesting aspects. First, France is de facto peacemaker in Lebanon and in Gaza. But the Americans are saying, hey guys, you are not even invited to the discussion. How the hell you can be the peacemakers? France says, Mr. Israel, I'm going to put sanctions on you pretty soon because my 2 soldiers got killed in Lebanon by Hezbollah, but I'm going to sanction Israel. Good. In the meanwhile, Hungarian Prime Minister says, I'm going to go to United Nations. It's not the United Nations. I'm going to go to EU and tell them, stop any relation with Israel, put sanctions on Israel. Luckily, that could not go through. Obviously, EU has its own sanity. That won't go through. But the challenge is that the meeting which these Europeans were trying to have to get countries together and see how to open the Strait of Hormuz and all, I don't think that has really resulted into anything great. And Trump was mocking them for that. Now here, the situation is Zelensky offering his ships to Trump. If required, we can be there cleaning the Strait of Hormuz. Trump saying that my ships are already doing it, but the experts say it might take 6 months if you want to really sanitize the Strait of Hormuz. Does Trump have 6 months? Yeah, he has. Does Iran and Middle East have the 6 months? No, they do not have. So what is this 6 months game going? Zelensky is ready to send ships. Suddenly, Giorgia Meloni comes into the picture. She says, "Oh look, you know what? I'm going to send my ships if you want." Because Giorgia Meloni has got into a bit of a rough patch with Trump on the issue of the Pope, where she supported the Pope, and Trump was going crazy and blasting her after that. Now, I think Meloni wants to make up, saying, "Okay, I'm ready to send the ships." Suddenly, a powerful country within the NATO, a powerful country within the Europe is ready to send the ships to clear Strait of Hormuz to work with Americans. That leaves France, Germany, and UK red faced. They don't know what the hell is happening. In the meanwhile, there are talks of Keir Starmer to resign. There's again the buzz, the Keir Starmer has to resign. He has to step down. Things are pretty bad. China has asked all its people, all its citizens to leave Iran because China fears that this is not going to kind of settle in a amicable way. Trump says we've given up on NATO. When we need NATO, it is never there. And now the relation with NATO is not going to be there as it was before. Even the Canadians have started saying, look, if Americans walk out of the NATO, NATO is nowhere, you know, to what it is projected in the world. It's all because of the American fire. So if America walks out, things really, really should go crazy for NATO. Well, Hungarians are doing a line, French are doing altogether a different line. Keir Starmer his chair is shaking, and Benjamin Netanyahu says, I don't care. Russians are not willing mediators, they will only mediate when push comes to shove. And in the meanwhile, with all those things really, really happening, Georgia Meloni acting smart and say, hey, Trump, I'm going to send my ships to you if you need. So that puts Keir Starmer and Macron in a very difficult position, even the Germans. And if this was not less, Trump threatens them with the nuke attack. Trump is very clear, look, these lunatics cannot have a nuclear bomb. So what is next, Mr. Trump? The next idea is that there is no way these lunatics can have a nuclear bomb. Imagine these lunatics attacking Israel. So a lot of people say, okay, if they attack Israel, how does it matter to us? They will take out half of the Middle East. How does it matter to us? Now, Trump says, they imagine if Paris and London and various cities of Germany get attacked by Iran. Now, if they have the bomb, they can go and attack you. Now, by the way, their missiles are already reaching. They have the missiles which are around 4,000 kilometers of range. So they can already attack Europe. And if they have nukes, they can even nuke them. That's what Trump said. And it's a matter of fact and a matter of time, they will be able to reach United States as well. So there is no way these lunatics can have nukes. Uranium is not compromised, not a thing of compromise. And while as Iran is saying, uranium is the only thing we are not going to do. If you want to have talks minus uranium, then come to the table, talk to us. Otherwise, we are not interested. So now, what is Pakistan going to do? What are the Pakistan step Pakistan is going to do? And how things are shaping up. Meanwhile, Trump has played a very smart move. I'm going to invite my friend Vladimir Putin for G20. Now, in America, there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, we are going to arrest Netanyahu, we are going to arrest Putin, but Trump is saying, he's my state guest. Nobody dares to touch him. Because he wants to have a cozy relation with Putin. He can't afford to ruffle feathers with him at that point of time. So that's why, okay, my brother Putin, come to America, we'll have a G20 meet and things like that. Here, things in the Europe get further motivated because Europe, there is no synchrony and there is still not clarity when did Europe pay those proposed $90 billion of loan to Zelensky. There's still no clarity on that. They all are at different wavelength. And Trump is really scared now with the nuclear bomb, which is not a distant probability. And by the way, when Trump was asked the question of the nuclear bomb, he never said categorically no. And let me tell you one more example. Iran's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson talked about the nuclear thing. He said, there is no way in the negotiations Iranians brought that 10 nuclear bombs as an issue. What does that tell you? It's exactly what Trump did. Why should I use a nuclear bomb when I'm winning by the conventional methods? So that doesn't rule out using the nuclear. So the Iranians are exactly playing the same card. We never talked about the 10 nuclear bombs. So what were you talking about? 9 or you were talking about 15 or you were talking about 100? It's not a question of 10. Were you talking nuclear or not? That is what the Iranians should ask. And what Trump should answer is categorically state, I'm not going to use any nuclear weapons against Iran in any way whatsoever. But it's not, oh, why I'm doing this, why I need conventional armament. It's not a question of conventional or no conventional. You have to be very clear. So, Iranis also have nuclear ambitions. America, I would not say you can completely rule out this because I can see some buzz coming up. And personally speaking, this is a weapon which never ever on planet Earth should have been used, should be used. This is only a matter of deterrence, never for the use. This is the worst nightmare of humanity. This is absolute carnage. This is absolute madness. This is absolute. How do I say it? This is absolute stupidity. Right? You can have any plans, you can have any problems, but these are the weapons which are never ever to be used. Though Macron says, I will not contest elections after 27. Right? After 27, I'm gone. I'm leaving politics. But French say now we are going to defend Cyprus. There's a troop agreement between France and Cyprus. So a couple of French troops are going to be deployed there. Now imagine Cyprus has problem with Turkey. And Turkey is a NATO member and a powerful country. Now imagine there's an attack by Turkey on Cyprus. And there is another NATO country called France, which has a military pact with Cyprus. So will one NATO country fight with another NATO country? And will Tayyip Erdogan be the one who will put NATO amongst NATO? Because NATO is weakened, NATO is kind of really gone, and Europe is a divided house. So how are you going to settle this kind of a conflict, Mr. Macron? And what happens to you when you are not in politics after 27? Things get more complex here. Things get more crazy here. And to add to the misery, Tayyip Erdogan has gone very silent. Not a word from him. Saudi is silent. And I appreciate one sentence from UAE. He says, guys, how can we trust Iranis? They have sent 2,800 missiles and drones at us. You expect us to test or try the same country? Do you think that is practically possible after having defended 2,800 drones and missiles? So the conditions in Middle East are bad. The trust is dwindling. The Ummah or Islami Biradri, it is again shaking the Islamic Brotherhood. That's no longer the finding force. And the crude realities and the economic compulsions have started. So that is pretty much where we have been. What is the summary of the day? And by the way, Hezbollah saying, I'm not bound to go by any ceasefire. That is where we are. That is where I had to bring you up to date. And this is pretty much what happened. On that note, brothers and sisters, I'd like to take a leave. Before I take a leave, I request you kindly like this video. That's very important. Subscribe to all our channels. Bharat Vichar Ethos is always what we work on. Bharat Vichar portal is a good 10 minutes read. You spend time. You can support Bharat Vichar through your offerings, if you want, you can support Bharat Vichar. Now I want to play two videos of SUMIT collections and SUMIT advisory.
नमस्कार मित्रों, मैं आपके सामने लाया हूं सुमित पीर एडवाइजरी, जो एक यूनिक इनिशिएटिव है जिसमें आपकी लाइफ, बिजनेस, पर्सनल, प्रोफेशनल कोई भी समस्या हो जिसका हम मिलके समाधान ढूंढेंगे। आप जूम के माध्यम से जुड़ेंगे, आप दुनिया में कहीं पे भी हो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। ये 100% प्राइवेट कॉन्फिडेंशियल है, इंडिविजुअल्स के लिए है, कॉर्पोरेट्स के लिए है, और प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच टू वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम्स of any kind of type, immigration हो, finances हो, career हो, life हो, business हो, कुछ भी हो। तो आपसे निवेदन है कि आप इस इनिशिएटिव का लाभ उठाइए और हमसे जुड़िए sumitpir.com के माध्यम से। ईमेल आईडी है sumitpirofficial@gmail.com, और sumitpir.com पे जाएंगे तो आपको ईमेल आईडी, आपको व्हाट्सएप नंबर सब मिलेगा। आप हमसे जुड़िए और मेरी टीम आपसे संपर्क में रहेगी, और इसको हमारा पूरा प्रयास रहेगा कि इसको हम एक सार्थक और एक बहुत फ्रूटफुल एंड की तरफ बहुत जल्दी ले जाए। नमस्कार, प्रणाम, साधुवाद।
SUMIT collections.
शिवोहं 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 चिदानन्दरूपं शिवोहं 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 चिदानन्दरूपं शिवोहं 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 चिदानन्दरूपं शिवोहं शिवोहं शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहं
Thank you very much. This is a wrap up of our Global Insights program. Hope you like it. And as I promised, the English version will be coming. This is a capsule which tells you what are the most important happenings which happened geopolitically around the world and which concern Bharat and the mega conflict which is happening in the Middle East. On that note, I'd like to take your leave. Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, Om Namah Parvati Padaya, Har 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 Mahadev.